So we're gonna simplify it for the purposes of this, we're gonna pretend this is cash, and we're not gonna use our money. So we're not gonna factor in any other costs besides those.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you have the minus two,
So
minus the 35.
we're not-
That's your price.
Just the basic formula.
Okay. So this one. So I guess depending on how much you're in 5,000. So what is your? So I would say.
This times this is 206, and I still got money. So that's why I think that's so easy for the top.
Oh, I like that. I like, no, yes. I like that. Instead of just being.
So when you put that to make sense.
Landlord is.
It doesn't make sense at all.
So the thing is that.
Yes.
So, to
The repairs are estimated to be
$1,600 is more than 1%
Oh, wait a minute, it's not just selling for
price,
it's
which
just,
is
just selling
break even number, but you would also be coming in with 30K equity that you could tap into. Now everybody wants to go for 1%.
So I would buy.
So the, you really put the house at 115.
I get it, okay. I was like,
They're saying that
So,
you're not gonna.
yeah, so. My house, like your.
But the thing about it, my 3 siblings who inherited it needs 50K and ARB is 208. Heirs want 200.
So we're not gonna factor in, we're just gonna put it in the vacuum, we're just doing numbers, we're not gonna factor in part line was a or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
So, we're just gonna make it, yeah, just a simple formula.
oh, sorry, I was just waiting.
This one was,
All three are on board. Right. What is the best tax history?
cash. Pretend it's cash. There you go. So we're just using simple, we're not going that deep. It's simple numbers. We're just using the information that's available. There's a general rule, there's a formula for that. Mm-hmm. There's a general rule.
Throwing you off because it wants you to think about someone new, but you're really concentrating right here. So 150, you get 50 times 1% is 1,500. 1,500 a month. So you're getting so the rent would be 1,500, so you make $100 more. So this is just an added bonus because you got. Yes.
Subject to is when you come to an agreement with the homeowner saying, I'm going to own your house, subject to your existing mortgage. So if they keep the mortgage in their name, you get title, under the assumption that you continue to make those payments to the loan, right? You definitely need to keep, like, in order for that to even go under the radar, they would need to get cut off. Not every mortgage company cares, right? They want your interest on the house, right? A lot of times you want sale laws, it's like, you try to do this, I'm gonna try to take it from you, right? We had an agreement with you, not this random person that you're trying to subject to.
Well, they want, it's not what we would, the after ARV is 280, so minus 70% puts you down to 196, minus the 50,000 puts you to
Well, they have
196. So you
55
don't want to
days.
get that for 146, but they want 220.
So I have it in cash, it's very full in my pocket. That's what I just
letting her video on the floor.
I'll be the valet.
Crazy.
Well, you guys are trying to find a little, if this is what Anthony is talking about. So you
From camera.
The only time for this will tell you is that. So now,
if this is the house he was talking about, with a crack in the middle of it.
and there's six other.
Generally, the petition lawsuit does not automatically continue without being assault. So you would have to.
Everything structural, I mean, it's scary. It's structural. Basically, it's a whole thing.
Tell them to come back.
I went to a house and then I was worried about the roof, the foundation was coming out of the ground. And that's that man I was talking about the women's.
Yes. I thought that was the
They say that, but I see the foundation too. It doesn't, like, there's no specific spot, maybe there's a list out there that I don't know.
It might be, I know for sure the Northeast you have a lot of it. This area right here, yeah. Yeah.
But you could see that in the field as well. No, there's not any further damage. Well, it's great because someone has a pre-foreclosure. Yeah, so I would say no.
Okay, well, that's the tenant, so where would you talk to the owner? I can't talk to the owner, she tenant doesn't own it, so I just talk to the owner, hey, throw them out, and I'll
So,
take
Yeah, but evictions are not that bad.
instead of traditional lending to purchase a home, you'd say, hey,
How long is it?
what if
They can quit.
I
It's
just
okay.
pay you monthly to buy this house from you?
We've done
Like this
two.
series one where they're like, we'll take.
That actually was very much, we gave them,
It's kinda like that's the
very, we also, I think a lot of it is your build up.
Because owner finance means.
If the tenant fights more, then it's definitely, it can be a lot more, but we try to be good, we try to have a good relationship. Even when they're behind, we start to have a conversation with them, coming from the practical place,
Owner and
hey,
seller finance are
you know,
separate.
and so then when we have that conversation, right, right. So when so we'll say, hey, we're trying to work with you, but,
It doesn't, well,
and
that's
then
not good
it's,
insurance.
then we're saying, okay, look, it looks like it's not. So then we send a notice, we send a 30-day notice, 30-day notice? I think we send a 30-day notice first. And then if nothing's happening, then we just go back to the courthouse. And so when we've done it, because we've done things the right way, by the time the court date is up, they're already out of the house.
And that means.
So how long is, how far?
Right.
They're quick. So we went to the courthouse for the last time. We went down there and they scheduled the appointment 2 weeks later. Yeah, yeah.
So possibly that would be the thing with this one, so if you have experience doing that.
Sure.
There's a lot of
Come on, smart way.
doesn't work
You have to
for
deal with the nightmares in it.
I gotta deal with this 3 months backed up. It'll cost me some long-term numbers. That makes sense, it's not crazy.
Reverse mortgage?
You're giving up your equity.
You talking about reverse mortgage? What's the question? What is a reverse mortgage? So they're, basically with a reverse mortgage, you have to be over 65.
We have
But they will either, like you can actually purchase a property with a reverse mortgage, and in that scenario, you typically, they want you to have about 55% that you put down. And then you never have to make mortgage payments. Like
It
they,
just takes away your equity, like
so
your payment is
it's,
your equity?
well, you're not paying, yes, your equity is paying.
Okay.
And
So
so
Tom said what it
if,
says.
yeah, so if you decide, like, you once you move on, if you want to buy it, then you buy it for your, like, where your position is, you want to buy it out. Typically, when people do that, they don't necessarily think they want it. And then whatever the money is, it's okay, how to do the process. The other way is, you can actually,
Some people do 75, 80.
if I'm buying a property for half price,
The 70 is usually it, right? So in the 70s.
so I buy, yeah.
Cause they already put down half.
The number is 119.
And then the other way is, a lot of times what they'll do is you can pull cash out, or if you own it outright, and then you can upstairs and get money and so on.
This number.
So I think there's 2 ways. They don't give you all the money at one time, because, you know, sometimes
That's
you
how you
have
get it.
living hearts, and if they get all the money, they'll give it to that kid. And so they try to advise you, and then I think it at least will be
But we're not really going
$2,
that
or
deep.
you can
You
get
look
like
at
a
that
loan.
number 89, you could be like, wow, I'm going to 95. I still have to do it. But the 45 minutes, they're trying to tell you over 45 minutes.
Right.
So like, with, I guess with the distance or the market size, you're trading more on the house.
I don't know where, because I don't know what
No, I
number.
wouldn't be moving the numbers.
Tom sounds like
It was like Burmese and everything.
What would you want to change?
You know, they feel like those little country towns and suburbs is fine. It's just, we got where the radio is.
No, it's fine.
Oh, yeah, so, seems like a little, I guess, it's just like, what is the scenario? That would be,
We would need to increase the area, if possible.
yeah.
What'd you say?
Increase the area. I clearly did
How?
not understand what you said.
How?
Add value,
How?
like
What's the first thing that
update
comes to your mind?
That's
the
not like
kitchen.
gambling. If we're saying this with this,
I haven't maybe.
Is it worth this because it doesn't have any issues?
You want to say wholesale?
Wholesale, I think.
Okay, I was
yeah,
saying
but
wholesale.
either way, that's close. You can throw some money into something that close.
No. I would
No,
not.
you're trying to
What would we change?
buy
What
the house.
we need to change?
So,
Oh,
what,
If you go
what's
to
the
the president,
creative, what
hey, they're on the property. The lender may not want the
are
property.
the conversations you want to have with the seller? I guess is the question.
Definitely try
They
some
want
things.
it really creative.
So they may say it's 160,
If you get creative.
but in the short term, the bank will say less than on it. And a property
So
is
now the
just
next question
neighborhood
is, what
that
kind of creative?
maybe needs some work or something like that. They may not want to be in the business of.
Yeah, I know.
Most people can real estate, when they get, when it's real estate, is a situation like that, they can real estate.
I would offer, say, let's say buying it in the low market, I would try to get it a little bit less than the that's cheaper because
They
they
can't.
They gotta be known for doing it. So people in this situation, like Anthony gets, breaks it down. What are you talking about? The level, like if you know it's 3 weeks, you know,
That sounds great to me.
out.
I mean,
That's
oh,
like,
and affordable house, I didn't miss that.
no bueno for those.
Blood in the water. Oh, okay, so you're desperate. Okay, that's good to know. Just one
Oh, my God, that's true.
Right, it's real.
But real quick, back to that one.
I mean, that's a lot.
Closing costs, you get a lot of things. Yeah. You get a lot of things, a lot of extra things.
So by that, you're saying
So some people want to
Oh, that's all together.
Does anybody know how, what are the first mortgages?
But you're here.
When you're, it's how to pay off, how you, the bank gives you
Novation
money,
is
right?
where, hey,
If you're over 65, it's a way to
you
get a
don't want this
loan.
house anymore.
Where
I cannot talk for
basically
you,
they'll,
talk about them. But what I
the
can
homeowner
do
doesn't
is
have a payment.
I can invest money into it.
They've invested
And
into
then
it.
I will give you.
So they own it, they have that note,
Right
it's
now it's
at
only
160.
We'll say 150K.
Usually,
I can give you 150K.
the companies have a reverse mortgage.
I don't have
So,
150 right now.
they're older, they're 65,
You have to be over
Usually right
65.
and then the house is paid off, so they turn
I'll
around and
sell
say, I want
with
my
money.
equity back, and you get a loan.
And then we'll sell it. All I need you to do is come close the thing,
Yes.
sign it at the end. You will get your
Yes.
100, you
So
will get your
the loan is
150
100%, like they have some money into, like some of their original, but 100% of the loan, they're not making
And
payments.
take all the profits, you can
Typically.
split it,
Oh.
whatever.
In some scenarios, they're getting
Put in
payments,
investment
but the
to
homeowner
fix
is
up
not
the
making
property.
any
Right,
payments.
you're
So
taking
the
the
power of
power.
attorney to sell it
Yeah.
for top dollar. The seller
So,
takes
what
what
I
he
say on that
originally
one
agreed
is,
to.
obviously,
The rest,
anything,
or
you may be able to, like,
has it, right?
if,
Yeah.
understand within the situation, the lender,
I do think.
most of the time, lenders don't want to own real estate, they don't keep real estate. And so depending on the
When someone's in a
situation,
get
where the
rid of
property is, I think
mindset,
only thing you
I
can
don't
do
think
to
you're
make
gonna
that deal
be
is if you can negotiate with that person.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, I was talking about it.
Price down and buy.
How did you get these questions?
Yeah, I feel like these are all personal experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, could you? Yes, but, you know, I'm far.
Because acting like getting the property or whatever.
How do you like know, but also I guess they have a different mindset. I think not my own, really work together. Yeah. It's not a hard yet, and they, people will have. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, if I were, I was like, or maybe, yeah.
Short term rental, I think.
I would buy a liquor store and put some of that.
Luxury finishes.
Boy, the cost, I mean, I did it.
And, working with the perfect
70 is basically something.
Oh, cause I was going to spend, I was going 190. And I was on. Yeah, you're right.
What number are you guys on?
One thing I do know
17.
is
Okay. We're gonna call
the
that.
original line, and that's
Okay.
he's talking about the
You're with me.
original line. So if you don't have a clear understanding of why you're buying the property, you could run the risk.
I think because there's,
So you can't go in there saying, I want Airbnb and I want this.
I think because
I want to do
this looks like such a
this.
deal,
You
in my
gotta
opinion,
know
maybe. Looks like you're
why,
gonna.
why you want it. And it's this is a very different conversation. If you want Airbnb, you gotta have a different set of rules and things.
It's a decent deal.
I wanna keep you guys here too late.
That's how you get 90 cents. Okay.
Bunch of home reapers also. Me and ChatGPT was like that.
That is a mistake on the wall,
If you stay
Very long
You guys finish that one? Okay. So, what do you guys think about that?
I like this. I like this. I got my
It's more proof that I overcomplicate things. It's so difficult.
I'm over here listening to you. I'm like,
I like it. I like this.
So much
Let's
so
do
I
this.
have all the information.
okay, so for the first one, I wanna go, I'd like to hear who's the representative on each side. Who's the representative for you guys? Who's gonna speak for you guys? Leah?
I do not talk, but I don't know what I'm talking about. Gotta change.
What we talked about? I
So-
told me that before I said that.
First one, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home is listed at $215 in a neighborhood where similar renovated homes sell for $295. Kitchen and bathroom are outdated, but everything else is functional. Repairs are estimated at $35,000. Is this a flip opportunity? Would you guys say?
No, I said no.
You guys said no? What did you guys say?
I put maybe, because I feel like there was less information to know, like I didn't know, like, I know you said there was no hard money, so there was no, but as far as like closing costs, fees, and how long it stays on the market, I don't know. 45K in profit potentially, but I feel like there wasn't enough information.
I think that in a vacuum, right, if we're using hard money, we'd say no, it's definitely not a deal. But if we're using cash, I agree, $45,000, nothing to, you know, if it's something we can get done, I think in that situation, if we're using cash and this is one of the things that you as an investor have to get clear on when it comes to your numbers. We always talk about the 70% rule, but that number changes as the numbers go up, right, or down. 70%, when you're talking about, I had an investor who did that follow 70% rule? Let's see. No, so I had an investor who bought a property, and they bought the property for $565, and he was expecting to put $45,000 worth of work into it and sell it for $740. It did not make the 70% rule, right, based on those numbers, but we're looking at almost $100,000 in profit. So the rule is good for setting it up, but don't forget to also look at the numbers, right? Making everything. Now, not only did we did that, but we were expecting to be able to sell it for $740, and we actually sold that one for $864. So they made a solid 200 grand in 4 months. A landlord is tired of managing tenants and wants to sell a rental for 150,000. The tenant is paying 1,600 a month and wants to stay. Comps are 180. Would you buy it and hold it? Why or why not?
Yes.
Yes,
Why?
because you've got already have 30K in equity and, actual tenant at 1% rule.
So the 1% rule first, but then, yes, the equity is a bonus. What also should you do with that before you just buy it? Probably verify that the tenant is actually paying that $1,600. You find a vacant property owned by 3 siblings who inherited it. It needs $50,000 in rehab. ARV is 280. The heirs want 220. Is there room for profit? What's the best strategy?
No,
No?
run.
Run. No?
Yeah.
We'd like to talk them down.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised I didn't hear Dad say something a little bit louder.
Yes, no, because yes, I was like, we have to talk them down.
So yeah, so at that price, no, right? Before I run, I'm gonna try and everything I can to see if we can get them down. What kind of strategies would you use to have that conversation? To get them down? Because heirs, if you ever worked with heirs, that's fun. That's an option.
Come at them like real, like, hey, I'm an investor, right? I'm not gonna, if I'm going to help you with this, like, I need to make money too. These are the numbers. Show them the proof, why you're making the decision that you're making.
I think I would come out with it at them like, I'm taking a huge problem off your hands, and
That is a strong strategy.
yeah, like I'm here to help you so that y'all don't like can stay friends and family and not fight about this. Yeah.
Any other options? Did you know you can divide and conquer? Did you know that when there are heirs, you can buy a single heir's interest? You can buy one of the heirs' interest. So one of the heirs is just like, hey, give me $50 for it. Now you're equal partners with the other one.
But doesn't that create another headache now that if they're pissed and now you gotta deal with it, they're like, we're not gonna sell it. You just got to.
Well, they might be more
Well,
willing to
so
hear it
there's,
if they want money.
so there's a strategy that you can actually say, sometimes in those type of situations, heirs, there's also responsibilities that come with the house. And so you say, I'll take care of the taxes, I'll take care of the maintenance, I'll take care of, but now we are equal partners in this business. So you owe me for, and we can get legal if you want to pay me. Oh, you ain't got any money? Sign right here.
So you gotta find the weakest link.
That is a tactic, it is a strategy. And so sometimes you may be able to get family members, like it may be something that you maybe want to wait, right? Maybe it's a good deal and you don't necessarily want to get aggressive, but then maybe there's somebody who does want to get out of it and doesn't want the responsibility. Buy their interest and sit on it. Wait until time happens.
So the first thing you should do is have a meeting, see who pays who. Just go back and watch.
There's a lot of options. The point is that there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways.
So you have to do something.
A house in a gated community is selling for $260,000. Comps are $300,000. HOA is $350 a month. Does the HOA kill the deal for this rental or flip opportunity?
Yes.
We put yes if it's a rental, no if it's a flip and there's no rehab.
No if there's a flip and there's no
No,
rehab.
if there's no rehab, it would kill the deal to flip it. If it's a rental, it kills the deal.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Number 5, owner is behind 5 months on payments. They owe $160,000 on a house worth $215,000. The house is in decent shape. What strategies could you use to acquire this property?
I will wholesale it, hey, I'm gonna take on the mortgage for you.
Okay,
On your best
Is that the best option?
I will tell him that.
And she would?
That's so good.
What other options exist?
Subject to.
Subject to? Is that it?
You could turn around after the subject to and sell it. You could, can't you take a subject to and then rent it out?
You can rent, you could do that. Could you also use novation on the sale?
Because you're 500 ton,
What does that mean?
the city's gonna want their money like immediate funding. Like, how long can you, innovation might take 2 more months.
It could, but if you can catch up the payments, put in the money to fix it up, and then still sell it for a profit, that's still worth it.
What was the price?
They owe 160.
And it's worth 215.
What's the final?
And then,
And this is the other thing about novation. Typically, when we've talked about novation, we've talked about putting it under contract and still going through and doing improvements. But if we're saying that the house is in decent shape, you don't necessarily have to do improvements,
in that case, yeah, innovation.
right? Get it under, catch them up, sell it to somebody else for a deal. Put it on the market for 200 as is.
All I have to do is paint, easy.
Yeah.
Oh, now you like painting.
It was a lot, okay? For the first time painting, I took on a big project.
A seller owns a free and clear home and is open to monthly payments instead of a lump sum. They're asking $190,000 for a $200,000 home. Would you purchase this deal?
Do that?
Yeah.
You say yes, let us mortgage it for 2.5%. We take it off.
Creative finance.
Yes.
Yeah, we try to creative finance with the owner. We take it off.
Owner finance?
Yes.
What do you guys think?
I put, or, I guess.
It didn't bring it out.
Yeah,
It was too close to really be, I didn't feel like it was really worth the headache, unless you can possibly rent it out a little bit more, which maybe a little more, but.
I mean, you can also live in it.
Now we have homes we like.
So you could definitely, you could rent it if they're open to owner finance. A lot of times if people are gonna do that, they probably wanna put something in that says you can't owner finance it, but there's not really, in most contracts, anything that keeps you from turning around and owner financing the property out. Doing a wrap around. Zillow for sale by owner is listed at $180,000 in a $210,000 neighborhood. Pictures are dark and the listing has been up for 80 days. Is this a marketing issue or something wrong with the house? How would you find out?
Definitely marketing issue. Bad pictures, you'll have to go see it.
Okay, knock on the door, talk to them, figure it out. If it's a marketing issue, what would you do with it?
Go take new pictures.
Or what would be your exit strategy for it?
Realtor.
No, yeah. Are you a realtor?
It's not selling because it's got bad pictures, but you go and look at it and it's like beautiful, like it's a gem.
Then you buy it.
And you negotiate that price out and then turn around and sell it.
With better pictures.
pictures.
And a better realtor.
Hey. The property is listed at a $50,000 discount because it has a credit foundation. The seller says it's easy to fix. How do you evaluate if it's worth pursuing?
Have to hire a structural engineer.
Structural engineer. And then?
And then if they say, hey, it's gonna be this much, and if it's too much, we're gonna need a big price reduction. Or in my case, with my other homeowner, we're gonna tear it down and build a new one.
What do you guys say?
What was the last one that she said?
She said, or tear it down and build up.
Pretty much the same, get an engineer's report. And.
How do we feel about foundation?
That's the most important thing.
Scary?
Yeah. See cracks and run.
Do you?
Yeah.
I saw a crack and everybody else ran. I have a property right around the corner, 281 Brook Hollow. Got a swimming pool, cool property. I told the agent, it was another agent here at the office, I saw the property, and I said, you didn't tell your clients to get an engineer report. And she said, they don't have any money, they want to go with a foundation guy. And I said, you need to tell me that I walked in. Because at the time, they were asking about, I had a construction, they asked about doing some things to spruce it up for the market. And when I walked it, I said, I think you need to have it up there. So when you walk down, it has a when you go downstairs, there's this hideous crack that runs across. So it's very visible almost as soon as you walk in. When you go down the stairs, it's a terrible crack. There's something else going on too. And I said, but I walked in and I said, I think you need to get an engineer's report. And so they got a foundation estimate, said $9,000. They said, we're not gonna do anything, we should put it on the market as is. Put it on market, she said the first weekend, they priced it a little bit aggressively. She said they had 40 showings in the first 3 days, 0 offers. Everybody saw that crack. And I said, I really think you need to get an engineer's report. And so because she's a newer agent, I said, help her out. I sent an offer just so she could have some conversations with her seller. They came back and said, hey, my sellers want to know if you're serious about your offer, they want to counter it. And I was like, it wasn't great. This was supposed to be to help you. But now let me look at it. And so we ended up going under contract. I got an engineer out. The engineer said the house was structurally fine. I have not done a single thing to it. I've had the property for 3 years. I got a deal because everybody ran just because of the foundation.
And you're renting it, is that what you?
It's an Airbnb.
Yeah, I see.
Mm-hmm. It's actually the property where they're doing the pipe repair right now.
3 years later.
But it's just 3 years later.
So when you do an engineer's report, the homeowners purchase that, or you can?
It's negotiable. This depends on negotiations. Typically, it's a part of you doing your due diligence. So most of the time, the seller's going to say, because the seller doesn't want the information, right? If it's a problem, I don't want to pay for bad news.
Sure.
So they're going to say, no, you pay for it. But if I'm interested in it, right, and I want to make sure I'm doing my due diligence in it, and sometimes I want to use it to negotiate. Right now that I have the information, if a professional opinion says there's a problem, here, now you know there's a problem. Now let's talk about this price. But I think that foundations, because they're stigmatized, I think it's not automatically run, it's find out more information. Not all foundations are the same. Some of them you need to run from. But I think some of them, once you get more information, you may find that there is an opportunity there. Next one says, property is a great deal, but the tenant hasn't paid in 3 months. You're told eviction will take 90 days. What do you do?
Oh, you gave us the answer.
I didn't give you the answer.
You did?
No, I did not.
We said we would speak to the owner for a lower price.
Speak to the owner for a lower price. Okay.
Find out about the tenants,
What are you going to do with the tenants?
try to talk to them, hey, this is the situation, maybe you could pay them to leave.
Pay them to leave. Did anybody else an option?
Ooh.
Keys.
Cash for keys. A lot of,
How do you guarantee they don't leave? Is that a contract?
I'm not giving you a key. I'm not giving you cash till you're out this door.
I spoke to investor and he told me that he paid for the first month at another apartment and
This-
and then moved out.
To help them transition. That is something that people do often.
I like that. That's pretty good.
I actually had one of my tenants called me. He actually had one of his neighbors call me. And I was not in full investor mode. I was split. My attention was split. She calls me and she says, hey, my house is getting ready to go to foreclosure. I really, really, really want to keep this house, but da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh my bleeding heart. Let me help you save this house. I go look into it. She says, it's going to foreclosure. And I look at it and says, it's not going to foreclosure. She says, I said, let's schedule some time for me to walk through. Something happened. We weren't, like, she missed the appointment the first time. I don't know. So we go back and we're setting it up. but somebody calls her and alarms her. She thinks that she's going to foreclosure. So they put it under contract, and so when I'm going, she calls me afterwards and said, you know, I was really trying to hurry up and do something because I thought that, you know, they were gonna foreclose and I didn't want to lose anything. I'm like, you said you want to stay in the house. I'm trying to help you stay in the house. She sold it to somebody. She put it under contract. I looked at the contract. It was an awful contract. It was like a 45-day option period contract. And so I asked her, so once I looked at it, and I said, hey, there's some things that I think are questioned about this. You need to, if you're really concerned about this, you need to ask them to make these changes and set things up. But like, she wanted, and I saw the contract. They had it under contract for $60,000. $60,000. The house is cute. From the picture she sent me, it was a cute house on the south side. Like, the property that similar to this scenario that I have,
Thank you.
I bought for $70,000 like 2.5 years ago, in horrible shape. And the picture she sent me was cute. And I texted her yesterday, because she told me that she couldn't get out of the that she said that they told her they're gonna let her out of the contract. And I said, words are not anything, you need to get it in writing. Like, you need to go back to them and have this conversation. And so then when she went back to get it in writing, then they raised the offer that they gave her. So then they said they were gonna give her, I think $70,000. And so she ended up, I texted her the other day, and she said, or yesterday, she told me that they had paid for the apartment for the new place, and that she was just waiting for the rest of it. So also sometimes people say things, and it's not, like, I missed out on the deal because she told me enough information that I knew it was going to be highly likely and it was going to be hard for her to stay in the house. Because what she asked me at first was, she said, because the situation is I bought the house, I did actually end up keeping the tenant in my scenario. And so that's what she called me with. I guess he had kind of pitched and, oh, he can buy the house, we can stay in there. And I'm like, no, I don't know you, you were the owners of this house. This is different than the tenant.
Oh, I remember.
Yes, that house. So also with the eviction, you can do cash for keys. In some scenarios, I don't recommend this, but sometimes you can make them the tenant. I actually have a situation like this. I did negotiate the price down. I said, I will kick them out, but we're gonna have to pay a better price for it. And then I went to go, and I recognized that they were using vinegar, and I went to go use some honey. And so I went and met with the tenants and said, hey, how can I help you guys get out of here? I'm the owner now. And they said, well, we had this eviction. So I went to go help them clear the eviction. Then we found out that there was something else that they had. And at the time, the house, I fixed the foundation, I fixed the roof, and I just really didn't want to do a remodel inside, so I spent a whole bunch of money. And I said, hey, listen, I was going to do this renovation, I was going to raise the rent to $1,400, but instead, I will do it for $1,100. As is, I will allow you guys, but we're not going to mess around. And we changed the standard. I also recognize when you rent to family, they were renting from the family, and I understand it's a different dynamic. You just kind of think you can get away with things and push those, whatever. They told me they were going to be late the first month. I said, cool, there's a late fee. They weren't late then, and I don't think they've ever been late. Maybe one time. I don't think they've ever been late. And that was like 2 years ago. So when the deal makes sense. And I'm finding out eviction is really not that hard. In Texas. Home is 45 minutes outside the city, seems cheap at $100,000 with 170 ARV, rehab is 30. Would the distance or the market size deter you?
You said no. You said it was a good deal. I did the 70%.
So the distance does not deter you?
It's only 45 minutes, that's not like 2 hours.
Somebody's
Like,
Right.
that's
Right.
San Antonio.
far west side. I'm sorry.
So I drove 45.
Seller needs to relocate for a job in 3 weeks. Home is in great condition, priced below the market. What options would you offer? Subject to.
You did a do a creative deal.
Okay.
You can get it for cheaper, so they have to.
What kind of creative deal?
Okay, so we will tell them no inspection period, because like they're desperate to sell,
Mm-hmm.
so no inspection period, and they might have to pay the closing costs.
Okay, so what does that mean? What's your extra strategy?
I would tell them, hey, you need to sell, no inspection period, you're gonna pay the closing costs.
But how are you selling it?
Oh, I'm helping you.
No, I mean, what strategy?
What option would you offer?
Yes.
Subject to.
So we subject to it, right?
So you want to do a new job for
Subject to is an option, wholesale is an option,
sell by owner.
novation could be an option. Great condition, but just, there's some of the, and so the thing is really just looking and saying, when I'm looking at these different opportunities, I've got all these tools in my tool belt, and I can look and see which one is the best one for the situation. So there may be a couple of them that I can offer. Sometimes it's offering multiple options and that either one of them is beneficial, right? I can give you this option, or I can give you this option, but I got two solutions for you, and you had none. And so when I can offer you both of these options, like maybe I've heard bad things about wholesale, but novation sounds interesting, or subject to sounds different because the responsibility is not mine anymore, then maybe you can present it in a way that allows me to be a little bit more comfortable and positions you better in the deal. Homeowner passes away. Heirs want to sell, but the house has a reverse mortgage balance of $160. ARV is $175. Is there a deal here? No. Most of the times, reverse mortgages, it has to be the right situation. I haven't seen. I'm sure that there's deals, but when I understood talking to a reverse mortgage person, there should be more deals, but I just typically don't. I haven't come across any that would make sense. The house is beautiful, sits next to a liquor store and a boarded up house. It's on the east side. ARV looks like $240, and you can buy it for $180. Does the location ruin the deal?
Yes, it's in the ghetto.
We said,
We
you know,
don't
I buy the border
We
and
buy
buy
the
the
border.
Okay, buy the boarded up house. What else? What else could I figure out to see if there's another deal there?
To see if there's what?
A deal there. What do we know about areas with boarded up houses and liquor stores?
Is that the entrance there?
Drugs.
I would even say typically there's a higher rental rate.
It could be a Section 8 property.
It could be, right? And so you may be able to find out more information. Would this be something that I could rent and put on Section 8? Right? I have equity on day one. I may be able to rent it out. And on Section 8, I might be able to get higher than the market rent and have a guaranteed check. A city has tagged the house with 5 code violations and fines. The owner just wants out. The house has $20,000 in fines, there's $40,000 in work. ARV is $225, asking $120. Move forward or pass? Move forward, pass.
We said no, it's a crazy.
Let's talk about it. Why do you say move forward?
45 can't profit if you don't tap them, if you give them what they're asking, you can get more if you negotiate the price.
Why do you say pass? You said 45 in profit?
45 can't profit if you don't lower the asking price.
We got the buying price at $97,000, and they're wanting $120, and you have $60,000 in expenses, including the fines and the 4K, so 70 of 220, 5 comes out to whatever. But minus the 60 come out to, for it to make sense, was basically $100 grand. You would have to build for $100 for it to make sense, in my point of view. Because they're asking 120.
Can you, I don't know this, can you negotiate the fines with the city?
That is a conversation.
Sometimes.
Really?
That is a conversation.
I like how you think.
That is a conversation.
That's one of those things, right? Like, everything has a negotiation.
Mhm.
You have to constantly think that way.
Mm-hmm.
We're so programmed to be like, that's
Right.
what it is.
First, okay.
City says to
Yeah.
pay this,
Yeah.
Especially when
that's
they
what I
say-
have to pay.
Right, when you throw the word city, I love it. There's no association.
Well, especially,
I'm like,
especially,
you can't do that, you get a deal.
what'd you say?
I said, my father used to go into JCPenney and try to talk them down, and he would get a deal, and I'm like, you can't do that. If you do it, he would get a deal. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I like that.
Seller lives in California, properties in Texas. It's been vacant for a year, just wants to get rid of it. What's your move?
Also, they'll say, hi, Brett, I'm your problem solver. I'm down here. I'll take it off your hands for you.
Wholesale? Wholesale?
You put innovation also.
Huh?
Like innovation.
Innovation? Don't want to get it for a good, I mean, that one is literally, I don't think there's a wrong answer. It's really about getting out, figuring out enough information. I can flip it, I can wholesale, I can. The house is massive, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, in a neighborhood that's mostly 3-2s. It's priced at $310, but nearby homes only sell for $250,000. Can you make it work?
You said yes, as a short-term rental.
Yeah.
As a short-term rental.
As a short-term
We
rental.
stuck at 15.
Tell me more about that.
Well, probably tell you, because there's big families, and they could still rent, and you still hold on to that and make a profit.
So you guys are gonna pay for the biggest house in the neighborhood.
I think we're getting to like, can you make it work? If we were going to buy it, how,
Right, we said
how would
no.
it make sense? 'Cause
But
we
can I
put
make it
once.
work?
Yeah.
Okay. Short-term rental?
Well, we said short-term rental or just a rental. Could be the next Moonstone.
More bedrooms, more
Right?
names.
Okay, you gotta sell it to me. Okay.
So I was thinking like the house in Fairway, I don't know if that's what this was based off of, but that's what I might do. The neighborhood we grew up in, they built this house that's all, like, it just like, is way fancier than all the rest of the houses, just
It's a
right
three-story
on the golf
house
course.
in a neighborhood that is.
Which is
only
like regular
two-story.
two-story houses,
Yeah.
yeah. And it looks so different to where it could be marketed. That's what I thought of short-term rental, like you can just be pitched as something different, you know? Because it doesn't look like the rest of the houses that are there.
Okay.
Moonstone Mansion.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said the Moonstone Mansion.
Moonstone
Other.
Mansion.
Right.
Area.
It's the premium one.
That's right.
The owner needs $12,000 in back taxes and wants to walk away. The house is worth $190,000 after repair and needs $40,000 in rehab. Asking $90,000. Is this a hidden gem or a trap?
It's a hidden gem.
We didn't say it was necessarily a hidden gem, but we said it's a good deal.
Good deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said we could buy it from the tax office and Ashley didn't like that.
Buy it from the tax
Or
office.
buy it,
You talking about the courthouse steps?
Yeah.
You gonna let me go to foreclosure first?
We paid it back actually.
Well, sometimes you lose some, somebody else might get in there and get that deal before it goes to auction. The next one says the potential seller is open to a lease option structure. They're asking for $210,000. A market value is $215,000. Is this worth pursuing? Why or why not?
it's, in my opinion, it's worth pursuing if your situation dictates. If you're wanting to get in a house, your credit is not that good, you could actually get into a house that way, and then negotiate the percentage rate.
What do you guys say?
Internally, I'm saying no.
Yeah.
You're saying no?
Yes.
Talk to me.
It's not worth my time. Is that wrong to say?
No.
No?
Okay,
You gotta have your standards.
okay.
So I think if you can control it, right, if you can control the rent rate, you can make a lot of it make sense. There may be something, it's probably not gonna be the best use, but sometimes we have situations that maybe if I can control this property, maybe I got a plan or somebody lined up or a family member that I want to position or something like that. Sometimes there's stuff there that don't make the typical investor sense. If there's a way to get into it easy, right?
Yeah.
Easy interest. Anytime I can get into it easy, it's worth a consideration.
Right, I think for me, as I look at variables, when other people look at like percent or like percent rule or something
Mhm.
like that, more variables to me means the more problems can arise. That's what variables mean to me.
That's fair.
Okay.
Legal duplex, each side is 2-1. Rents could be $1,200 each, currently vacant. Needs $50,000 in work, asking $185,000, comes around $310. Would you flip it or hold it?
That's a flip.
Flip?
Yeah. Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Keep
rent
it,
is too low.
rent it.
Is that one?
Well, you're getting 20,000 bird.
Yeah, I would
Oh.
prefer this.
You would hold on to it?
It sounds like a bird.
Sounds like. I would have held on to it if there was already tenants in there, but I'm gonna, again, a variable, I would flip it.
So I think I like the fact that it doesn't have tenants in it more.
Oh, okay.
Specifically because, number one, if you had tenants in it before you did a renovation, you're not gonna have the highest market rent for it. You're not gonna be able to, like, the rents could be $1,200. Sometimes you can affect that rent even more. It says could be $1,200, right? Which means if tenants are in there, they might be in there at $1,000 or $900 because it still needs some work.
Gotcha.
Whereas you do the improvement, you can control who's in there, you can vet them, you can make sure that you have all that's actually less variables.
I like that.
An agent brings you an off-market deal, $200,000 purchase, $270 ARV, $30K rehab, but you gotta decide in 24 hours. What questions do you ask and how do you evaluate it quickly?
How's the foundation?
How's the foundation? What other questions do you ask?
I need photos, I'm not gonna walk in.
I need to see it. Yeah.
Location?
I need to see it.
Where in the city is it?
How do you evaluate it quickly?
See it.
See it?
Being there.
Give me the address.
Mm.
I already have BCAD.
I think also being comfortable and number one, I gotta have my parameters, right? So I can quickly know if there's anything in there that automatically filters it out, I can say no deal. Right? If it's starting to check all my boxes, I can be a little bit more comfortable to keep doing my investigating, and it's easier for me to pull the trigger on something like that. You guys give yourselves a pat on the back. You guys are good. You guys like
I
this?
know, it's like really
Is that intense?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this specifically because what I was hoping was that you guys would just get out there and have some conversations and bring these back, and I realized that how hard that is, right? Because of all the things I don't know. I also realized that I'm hoping that you guys also recognize that there's some power inside the room, right? And so we can collectively figure out some of these things. If we're going into it and have conversations, you do have other people that you can talk to. Of course, me, but there's a lot of ways, but also looking and saying, hey, I have a little bit more knowledge than I realized. I have a little bit more deal figuring out than I realized. I can speak more competently than I realized. Somebody's thinking, maybe I actually can go talk to people and tell them I'm looking to buy houses. I put Burr because he said Burr. Everybody knows what that is, right? You do? You do? You do, Judy?
I'm cold.
You don't? So this is a strategy for keeping properties, but getting good deals that keep it closer to cash flow. So you buy it, and usually when you're buying it with like foot numbers. You renovate it, you rent it, you refinance it. And then sometimes you do repeat. But when you do it like that, I'm getting a property, I'm forcing the appreciation, I've got a great property that, if I've done it right, I have a property that's renovated, that's ready for the market to rent, so I may be able to charge a little bit more than the higher market rent. But it also makes sense as a rental, and if I wanted to sell it, I can get out. I actually stumbled across that because I was actually fixing up properties with the intention of like, hey, if I have to get out of them quickly. And I'm like, well, if I have to, I like to try and control the variables. And so when I started doing them, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen, how quickly I'll need money, but I imagine if I have to sell the property quickly, I don't wanna be in a situation where I have to renovate it at that time. So I did nice improvements, rented it out, and then actually have been able to have long-term tenants that I have to always kick out and say, you guys need to be buying your own house, not my house. I think that's all that I have for today's class. I think Ashley has some books that she wants to give out to anybody who's.
Really?
Now I know where it came from. I just seen it came from. Yes, thank you for purchasing the books, I greatly appreciate it. If anybody else knows anybody who's looking for a journal to keep them structured in their weekly reflections, buy mine, because I'm also giving a portion of it to charity, which I am looking for charity ideas if you guys have any.
I know we want some nonprofits, Science Street. It's on the website.
Yes.
And will you send the link on how to purchase,
Yes.
so we can share that?
No.
Thank you.